This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, welcome on board and a very good morning to everybody. Welcome to Tswalu Kalahari. It is a super dramatic morning here at Tswalu. We've got this massive advancing front pushing through the western sections, moving east through Tswalu, and it is just very dramatic. The cloud cover and the speed that this front is moving is phenomenal. Really, really amazing. So we are going to be sticking very local for this morning. We obviously don't want to get caught in this while we're out, and we did have a bit of rain last night, so great to look at a few tracks and signs left behind by animals last night. Very, very nice. So perfect morning to be out and about. Keeps things nice and cool. So thank you for jumping on board your very own live safari in the African wild. So the colour scheme is by far the most striking thing at the moment, and then just the amount of stuff hanging in the atmosphere. You can see to the right of frame over there, that little grey patch, that is water falling at a volatile rate. And we have watched the system. So at the right hand side of your picture, you see that little camel thorn there. That's where this frontal system was. And as we started framing up, that frontal system has now crossed the entire screen, showing you how fast this thing is progressing. And last night we had a bit of rain at about 2:30, not a little bit, it actually came down quite heavily at the guides village. And it is just cherry on top of the cake. Any more rain that we receive now is just a little extra for the soil, which is fantastic. So very good morning to everybody, and thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful morning. My name is Carl, behind camera is BK, and it is fantastic to have you on board. It is lovely to be out here. It's going to be a very exciting morning. People are going to be looking for leopards, they're going to be looking for elephant, and there's also talk of maybe new lions that are going to be searched for this morning. But how dramatic. I don't think I need to say anything more. It is really beautiful. Let's send you over to somebody else for a hello.
Good morning, and welcome to the dawn, everybody. I'm trying to identify who this is. I think it's Tlalamba, but I'm not 100% certain. Came out of camp, and there she was walking in the road. I suppose it's a good time as any, and she puts her head in the bush to say good morning. Everybody, how are we doing? My name is Steve, my camera, and to live from Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands, where there's a wonderful misty morning with the clouds just breaking through, or should I say the sun breaking through the mist. Now, a female leopard over here, who, when we first saw her, did a little bit of a jog and a run away from us, and she's now scent marking. So I think it's Tlalamba, but I'm going to leave some of that to some of the experts out there that are able to identify spot patterns by bottoms. Are you ready, Jan? Great way to start the day. Rebecca, who's directing, asked me, so what do you want to find this morning? I said, we're going to find a leopard. And we got out of camp, 30 meters, and I was like, there's a leopard. So that was one of the easiest trackings we've had. I've had easier, but that was one of the easiest. But she's playing very hard to get this morning. This nice open area here that goes to power lines is a really good spot to go through. It's very open, and she's running. She's very wet because she's been in the long grass. Here, I'm going to show you her face now. I'm going to try to show you her face. There we go. That's not Tlalamba. Please, I want to know who this is. This might be Clara, everybody. You got her, yeah? Johan? No, I don't think that's Tlalamba. Please let me know, everybody. Maybe I've forgotten what Tlalamba looks like, but I don't think it's her. We wait for the verdicts. Don't forget we are live and interactive. We'd love to hear your questions and comments. #WildEarth. Throw them in on the YouTube chat stream. I've already done 25 burpees this morning. Burpees for conservation. #burpees for conservation. And many of you have privately messaged me last night to say you've gone ahead and donated. I really do appreciate that. It is going to the noblest of causes. Individuals like this, money goes towards conservation and anti-poaching efforts for our protected species. And I know many of you out there have got screenshots and the ability to identify these leopards from just a little bum mark. So I had a feeling it was Tlalamba, but she's too small. So please do remind me, everybody. It's been a long time since I saw a leopard. But while we wait for someone to let us know who this cat could be, we're going to be going over and having a look at what the weather holds for us today.
Good morning, fine folks. I hope that you're well. Just like June here. June looks very well. We didn't even intend on going to the hyena den, but then we got hyena roadblocked by everybody. It was quite cute. Hi everyone, it's me, Shala. I've got him on camera, and we're here with the Juma clan, or part of it. They're just all over. Swazi is here as well, playing all around us, and Swazi's still behaving like the cub that he has been. In fact, Swazi, remember yesterday I was telling you that this particular den was one that they used a couple years ago, and Swazi was one of those cubs that were in this den. Well, what's nice is that Corky's little one is here, so I can see Corky's too. Hey, bit of commotion going on here. Guys, this is my feet. No. It amazes me how Swazi still behaves like a cub. But he also plays with all of the littlest cubs so gently. And like I said, I didn't even intend. So my plan for today was to go to Chitwa. Hello, are you looking straight at me? Yes. Was to go to Chitwa and have a look, see if we could pick up anything on Tandi, Maribs, or maybe even Kachava. So I just came through the road that's closest to the den. But the den is quite in from the road, and suddenly everybody was on the road waiting to welcome me. So the only cubs that are not here are Ribbon's two boys and Intima's tiniest one. But it's lovely to see June. It's so amazing to see Swazi. And then yesterday we didn't get to see Braveheart, which is Corky's daughter. So it's awesome to see them. What is this? Okay, so Ribbon's tutu. This is awesome. So it's just a little tiny Intima that's not there. Oh, Swallow's got something awesome. Let's go over.
So guys, there's a group of Guinea Fowl in the road, and just watch around the corner. The Guinea Fowl on high alert. Look at the heads, look at they bunched together. Around the corner there is a brown hyena that's just caught one of those Guinea Fowls. It's got it in its mouth. I'm really hoping it comes this way, so we are a little bit further away from them. Hopefully this brown hyena comes towards us. There it is. Come on. There's its tail. So as we popped around the corner, BK saw something in the road. I picked up my binoculars. I was like, oh, it's a group of Guinea Fowl. And I could just see the ear of the brown hyena around the corner, and then it tipped forward, and then I could see the Guinea Fowl in the mouth. So at the distance that we are at, we shouldn't disturb it. It should pop out there and give us a little view. Oh my word. So what you saw there on the curve of the road was the tail of that hyena. And more than likely what happened now is it was moving back to its den site. They reside through the daylight hours, especially now through the hotter periods. And it might have just stumbled across this group of Guinea Fowl. And there was an opportunity where it took one of these young ones out, because there are a few young ones in there. And through this long, dense vegetation, there's a lot of cover for that animal to sneak up onto something or just catch something on surprise. Oh, look at the babies. Please come out there. So the Guinea Fowl are holding their position, so it shows that it might have just scooted around the corner, because they would move off if the hyena was coming towards us. So as soon as they cross, we're going to start up, and we're just going to sneak forward there and see. Look at all the babies. Oh. Wow, those are young. So this road would be more than likely a normal route for this animal to go back. The mountain is just behind us. And more than likely what it has happened, it's come from the west through a night's foraging. And it would normally use this route back to its residing spot. Okay, let's sneak up. Those Guinea Fowl on the right-hand side. Let's sneak up a little bit. Sam, what's the population of brown hyena on Tswalu? Well, they are very elusive animals, and to try and get a general number on them is a very difficult task. And we know that the population is healthy, but we actually don't know exactly a figure. And it's because of their shy and elusive behavior. These animals walk down the road. There's its tracks there. As you can see, it's large front pad and its very small hind pad. There it goes off again to the left-hand side. So the wind direction is also in our favour, so it's keeping the vehicle noise behind us. And that might give us a better chance of sneaking up on this animal. Still on the road. Alright, so from this animal on the move, let's send you over to somebody else who's also got an animal on the move. Alright, sorry about that folks, we just had a little bit of technical issue there. I just want to take a look. This animal has moved off now to the left-hand side of this road. So what we're going to do is we're quickly going to make a U-turn and we're going to double back onto the road that heads north-south, because this animal is going to be walking towards a mountain. And if we sit nice and still, hopefully we can catch it. So let's turn this trusty steed around quickly. And let's see if we can catch this animal going to bed. Okay. Obviously with these overcast conditions, it is a bit cooler and these animals will tend to go to bed a little bit later. This is normally around about the time that a hyena, brown hyena, would go back to its residing spot. And these mountains make perfect spots for these animals to find and seek refuge. Because it is walking through here, and we're not going to get much of a view because of the height of this foliage. So Lynn, do they have clans? Yes, they do. They typically will reside together at a communal den. But when it comes to foraging, this animal will do it solo. But then seeking refuge with other members at a preferred den spot. And this spot can be used for years and years. We've actually got a spot far in the east that brown hyena use. It's a beautiful little cave tucked within the summit of one of these mountains. And it's used by the brown hyena, but then it's also used by a lion when the lion wants to, when one of the females are pregnant and they want to give birth. Obviously a den site is very, very important when it comes to rearing young. So yeah, so communally denning and then foraging and moving out by themselves. So unlike the spotted hyena, which is normally always found in within a clan, you can find individuals roaming around by themselves. They do like to be a little more shy, a little more sneaky and elusive while foraging. Especially when it comes to a carcass, they don't like to. So we can see both sides here quickly. We're just going to wait here a few seconds. Yes, man. You did see the ear there.
Hi, my name is Damon and I'm a guide here at Beyond Pinder Private Game Reserve. Join me and our resident ecologist Craig Sholto Douglas at the fireside on the 21st of March for a discussion on 2 of our conservation projects. In early 2016, Beyond was faced with the fact that without some serious intervention, our rhino population could be in some serious trouble. And so a decision was made to start a rhino dehorning program. Sadly, the fastest mammal on land, the cheetah, is also racing towards extinction. The Beyond Pinder conservation team has been working on a project that aims to increase the genetic integrity of cheetah in protected areas around the country. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer and join us for a lively debate where we'll answer as many of your questions as possible.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an early bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that? Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I'll tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
I'm Nikki here at Ambion Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the Wild Earth website, head across to the Live Safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next Wild Earth drive.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ambion Ngala. You are with me, Rowan, and Gert behind the camera. And today we've got a third passenger. This is Anna Marie, or Mary Ann in English. Could be our good luck charm, little mascot that'll be joining us this morning. She's been clinging on for the last probably about 50 minutes. So hoping her charm works for us. We started off by going onto the eastern boundary, see if any of the Birmingham Pride crossed out. The only thing we did find was tracks of the young male that we saw last night. He crossed back out east towards Orpen Camp. So now we've changed our plan, and Gert and I have decided that we'll go into the Tswalu Riverbed and have a look, see if the mothers have returned to their babies, and maybe we could see the little lion cubs again. So fingers crossed for that. Up ahead we have Clara Dam, so we'll quickly have a look around here, see if anything interesting is drinking or coming down to drink. Probably a couple of hippos that's come back into the water. It's a cloudy day, so it's not even impossible for them to still be out feeding, but I'm pretty sure majority of them would be back in the watering hole. Roo is making his way from the top. He's also going to the center of the reserve. Fred has gone down south, which is good because if the Birmingham Pride crossed in east, from the east but into the southern part of the reserve, you'll be able to see that. So here we are at Clara Dam. And there's not much. There's a couple of hippos next to a dead stump just on our right. A few birds around. There's a grey heron on the other side. In terms of animals coming to drink, nothing for now. Like I said, it's not very, very hot at this stage. You can see we are zoomed in at the grey heron. I think the noise of the vehicle caused it to fly a little bit further on. And then, of course, you just see the eyes and ears of the hippo right next to white-faced whistling ducks that's on the bank. So we are from here. It will take us about 10 minutes to dip into the Tswalu riverbed, and then we'll actually drive the Tswalu riverbed just further west, going past that area where the lioness is denning, and then also past the area where the cubs, the older cubs, were left. Naughty ears and eyes of the hippo just popping up for a little bit of breath. Of course. So we'll probably sit here for a little bit before we head on to the river. But for now, we'll send you to Taylor, who wants to say good morning.
It's a nice morning to do a walk today because it's so overcast, and even those little caterpillars sitting on one of our favorite plants seem to agree. They're very busy munching away. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Niels, and we are here at Pridelands Conservancy, which is part of Baluli Game Reserve and the Greater Kruger Park. But let's have another look at those caterpillars. Now, we're very, very lucky to be out here with all of these Weltheria plants, as I'm sure that most of you are quite familiar with, right? They're wonderful, and they provide so much life. Now, I actually looked around hoping that we'd find a few more insects, because normally there's quite a few different ant species that you'll find on here. If you're very lucky, at the beginning of the year, you can find the flower mantids, but the only thing that I could find on them this morning were those little caterpillars. Where have they gone? How have I lost them? Do you remember where they were, Niels?
Your left.
On the left. Sorry, now we're trying to find them. I can't even describe to you how how small they are. I'm just going to put my hand underneath and move a leaf away. Now, they are so small. I reckon if they're about 1 millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters in length, I reckon I'm being quite generous. So these have recently just hatched, so you would have found that the butterfly would have laid its eggs somewhere on the plant, maybe underneath, so they're not so obvious. And they're not, in terms of eating the leaf, how we normally see caterpillars eating the leaf. Can you see? It looks like they're just kind of scraping the surface of the leaf. You can even see that it's gone slightly translucent now, which is awesome. And look at all that feces. So all those little black dots over there, that is the feces of the caterpillar, which we typically call frass. Now, I know those of you at home don't particularly like caterpillars, especially if you have a nice garden and you're growing vegetables or lovely ornamental flowers, because caterpillars can be quite destructive to plants. But what's important about caterpillars is that frass that I just mentioned, because once that drops to the ground, it's filled with all sorts of nutrients, which are very, very important for the soil. And this way, nutrients are recycled back into the soil far quicker than the natural decomposition of a leaf or some grass or, vegetable peels or whatever the case sort of may be. So caterpillars in large groupings, yes, definitely going to do lots of harm to the plants. But if they're just in small doses, and you'll find that these caterpillars will eventually disperse, and maybe 1 or 2 Weltheria plants will lose their leaves, but they'll hopefully grow them back, because they're not really interested in the stem. They're just going to eat the leaves on this one. Now, while I've been chatting to you, I've still been trying to see if I can find any more of the different insects. I thought I found a grasshopper at one point, but I don't know if I'm in luck today. It's a little bit cooler. It's been overcast, so it wasn't as cold as what it normally gets, but at this time the sun's rays would have been beating down on everything. What's this? Ooh, hang on. We've got something else. It's going to be difficult for me to show you, but if you look on that leaf, there's something there. Can you see them? They're quite hairy. I'm almost going to have to go down to get a closer look. I apologize if I move them very far away. They look very much like scale insects, but I don't know if they're scale insects. Now, the other morning, you might remember that we were very fortunate and we had a tortoise beetle. And I know that the larvae of a tortoise beetle looks quite similar to this. So I wonder if this could be the same thing. But I'm really, really, really not sure. They don't seem to be doing anything right now. They're just huddled up. Okay. I haven't got communication with Final Control at the moment. Could be on my side. I'm just checking all of my things. Now, James, sorry, I'm just walking and looking for things. I have not seen any dice moth caterpillars this year, unfortunately. Whoops, lost my footing there. But what I am hoping to find, and what some of the other guides have seen, or other instructors have seen here at Eco Training Pridelands, is lunar moth caterpillars, which are exceptional because they're bright green in coloration, and they've got these very interesting Sorry, there's a bird just calling here. How rude, I'm trying to talk. They've got these very interesting sort of hairs and markings on them, so we'll try and look for them. We'll have to check marula trees especially, but I have been looking and I haven't seen anything. I haven't really seen many caterpillars, in fact, which is sad because for those of you that do know me, I'm very, very fond of caterpillar species. Stand by. Have a look over here. I'll be back in 2 seconds as I've been past something very cool, which is something else that I also really like. And I've definitely shown you these before on books that we've done in the past. A common stick grasshopper? No, I've forgotten the name completely. But anyways, its camouflage is to mimic grass blades. And I'll put it on a grass blade in a moment, and you'll be surprised. You can see, look how its antenna almost looks like the tips of a grass blade. Shall we test the theory? But beautiful, very, very long, thin legs. Sometimes the grasshopper species have got very well-pronounced legs. Let's put it on a decent blade of grass so it doesn't just bend over. Off, back onto your natural habitat. We normally find these on the car. Off you go. Now look at that. Let go. They've got little spines on their legs, which make for very good gripping, including my finger. Look at that, how it's completely disappeared. Now that's going to help protect it from anything like a hornbill, or the yellow and red-billed hornbills that we see around here, even guinea fowl that might be moving through the grass that would typically feed on insects like this. And yeah, a little spurfowl lurking in the bushes behind us. But that's such an awesome thing. I'm probably not going to eat it though, so we'll let it do its thing. Good luck, grasshopper. Hope that you don't get eaten. But off we go back across to Ngala to see what's happening on their side. And hopefully we'll find some elephants on foot.
I don't think we've ever seen a guide on Live TV eat a grasshopper. That'll be a first. See, every now and then the hippo just waving its ears. It's actually quite cool. They're like little rudders. And there it goes, disappearing. So still nothing that's come down to the water for a drink. It's a very peaceful spot, I'll give you that. Except every now and then we've got this Natal spurfowl in front of us that's just screaming its head off. Carl, so for a hippo, they've got very, 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 very thick skin. So I don't think the temperature actually bothers them too much, even in very cold mornings when we have gloves, beanies, trousers, and about 6 layers on. A hippo will still be in the water. So it's not really that. For a hippo, they feel secure, they feel safe in the water. So during the day, they'll be in the water, and then at night, they'll go out to feed, and that's when they do get out. I can imagine if the water's frozen, which doesn't happen in Africa, then probably a hippo can't get in. But other than that, no. Yeah, all the birds now starting to chirp up. Some Crested Franklin ahead of us, and then the Natal spurfowl still just looking around for any seeds. And then, of course, the hippo pops up. All the birds are rushing towards us. Yeah, other than these birds, it's actually a very peaceful spot. They are quite loud. So on the right, the darker one is a Natal spurfowl, and then on the left, those are Crested Franklin. You can actually see the white brow on the Crested Franklin, and the Natal spurfowl with the very, very orange legs and orange beak. You just gave the Franklin a fright. So I think we'll have to continue on. Rule's making his way down. He's probably got the same plan as us. So it's better for us if we're in the riverbed first and we manage to find these lions. Of course, we only put one vehicle with them, so we need to try be the first ones to find them so we can stay with them for a little bit longer before actually allowing guests into the area. not allowing guests, but letting them come in. Also, I must say, quite a quiet night. I didn't hear any other lions roaring in our area or even hyenas whooping. So quite a peaceful night of sleep. Well, Mary Ann has now shifted to the left of the vehicle. She's almost at the aerial. But still clinging on and still joining us for the ride. Wonder when the last time she saw a lion cub. So this would be Gert's first time seeing these lion cubs, which I think would make it so special, which is why we're going to try do it. Because Gert actually saw the lioness and the Rasmel mating. So he remembers that from 6 months ago, but ever since then he hasn't been there. So actually he's trying to fight with my rifle bag. Had a claws up in karate style. Butterfly, called an African monarch. They're actually quite poisonous. Poison meaning don't eat them. Venomous is the one we need to worry about. Anything that is injected into you is venom. Poison is anything you ingest. So they are poisonous in the sense that they are very colorful, and if you had to eat them, it could be potentially dangerous. Mary Ann has now shifted all the way to the right. She's getting her step count in for the day. You can see some hyena trucks on the road going back that way. Back towards Clara Dam, but from last night. Garth, I agree, Mary Ann is indeed a beautiful mantis. Remember, her first name is Anna Marie. We just translated it into English. She even gave me a look there as I said that. Turned her head ever so slightly, and now she's looking at me. We'll probably have to drop her off a nice bushy plant or anytime she wants to. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure if she feels that she needs to go, she will just fly off. Sharks have a female leopard here, so this is the territory of Inyala female. And the riverbed we're driving in is known as Tekwand drainage line, and the trucks are going this way. And then up ahead, just around that corner, is a nice Inyala tree. So actually, that's where she got her name, is from the tree, where we often used to find her. She was always in and around this Inyala tree. But it's where her mom, the black dam female, used to hide her and her brother. She used to just leave them there, and the mom would go hunting. Not drinking, leopards don't do that. So mom would go hunting, leave the two of them there, and that was their safety spot. So of course, when she got older and got a part of her mom's territory, I think she incorporated the Inyala tree into her territory, and we could often find her there, which is why we gave her her name of Inyala female. No idea what happened to the brother though. Quite likely he went either into Manyaleti or Kruger National Park, but haven't seen or heard anything about him in a very long time. I mean, she's over 5 years old now. I remember seeing her when she was just a baby, very, very shy. The brother was the more curious one. He would actually come towards the vehicle, try to sniff us out. Always different personalities when it comes to leopards, when it comes to a pair of them. And sadly, more so, it's usually the male that is more relaxed and braver when it comes to vehicles than the female. And of course, this counts against us because the male eventually leaves the area and the female gets a part of her mom's territory. And having an unrelaxed female territorial on the property, if she has cubs but you can't view her, then her cubs are going to be less habituated. So we're passing through an area now called Shama Pod. The reason for that is there's a lot of Shama Pod trees here, and there's a very big one on our right. Dan, if we're talking about the lions, I think we'll probably refer to them as cubs till about 2 years old. So I just want to show this. So this is a Shama Pod, and you can actually see the massive pods hanging down, resembling that of a sjambok, pretty much. So which is why we call this area Shama Pod. They've got beautiful flowers in summertime and very hard to miss all over Kruger National Park. When we did that trip in September, Sean and I, it was just flowering sjambok pods everywhere. So yeah, there'll be cubs till about 2 years old, and then we'll start referring to them as sub-adults, basically. What we've done with the last set, so now the sub-adults are the white ones and all their siblings. But only because we have new cubs, although I must say they are, nearly 3 years old now. A couple of Crested Franklins ruined their morning, sorry. Thing is with them, the Crested Franklins running in front of the vehicle, as you drive, you'll have all of them run in front, and then one by one they fly off. So often what we try to do is, if they are running in front of us, you speed up just a little bit so all of them can fly off at the same moment. Not to try kill them, just to have them disperse at the same moment. Otherwise it's going to be quite hard for them to find each other again, being little family groups. So we're not too far from the river. Pretty sure when you guys come back to me, we'll actually be in the river, and we'll start having a look out for that lioness and her cubs. But while we make our way there, we'll send you over to Steve just for a quick update.
Welcome back to Djuma, everybody. We were with Clara for a little while, but she's gone into the block, and we've left her. She might pop out on the other side here. Oh, what's that spur fowl doing? There's Untitled spur fowl with an orange beak, orange legs, but he's plucking seeds from the grass. Very reliable, in my opinion, for when there is a predator. And the grass is very, very wet, so young Clara is very wet. We lost our feed at one point, unfortunately. She jumped onto a small little log, gave herself a proper little grooming. Sorry, let me just move out of the way. We have a little bit of traffic on the road here. I'm going to just reposition for you. Hopefully this bird will not fly away. Just off the main access with Djuma and the gate. Should I say Vuatella? Don't forget, everybody, we are live and interactive, and we would love to hear any questions and comments you have. Are you all awake out there? Oopsie, look at that wonderful jump. And off it goes. Okay, so we're going to just go around the block here. Our objective this morning was to find a leopard. Objective done. So now that we've lost her, we might go up into Buffelshoek, the southern reaches of Buffelshoek, and see what we can see. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Go and have a look at my very cool little pan called Rubbing Post. Okay, there's actually some impala over there. I might actually just drive around here and see if maybe she comes through again. Black Widow, the spurfowl was doing a fantastic burpee, you're right. Definitely got the jump down. Definitely got that jump down. I'm feeling a little bit stiff this morning. Already did 25 burpees before my coffee, which is a good way to start the day. Gets the blood flowing. Yesterday I did 100 burpees between 11:30 and 2. And that was difficult. So today I'm going to try to space them out a bit more. Those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I was discussing it yesterday on the show that a friend of mine, Superior Trails Guide, Bruce Lawson, is Shembo African Foundation, is raising money for conservation. And he's going to break the world record of 30,000 burpees in 10 days. That's right, 30,000 burpees in 10 days. I've done 200 in 2 days, 203, 25 this morning. So my tally is going up. So if you are interested in doing some burpees, go along to the website, www.burpeesforconservation.com. Register and do some burpees, or if you would like to donate, that would be wonderful. It's going to a fantastic cause. Infinite they do. They will eat ground birds. I've seen a lioness was just sits there and a quail just suddenly ended up right here. It just put it in its mouth like an hors d'oeuvre. But you don't often see them hunting them because they're just not as agile. But if it just makes itself very available, they will catch it. When I was last in Djuma, we had one of the Nkuhuma young lionesses looking to try catch one of the whistling ducks at Quarry Pan, and it missed. They're not quite as fleet-footed as a leopard, but they're still very agile, and it's amazing what they will eat. Tortoises, mongoose. I remember my first few months, I think, at Wild Earth, we were with the Nkuhuma Pride around Buffelshoek Dam, and they were all lying down, and we closed the show, and next thing these dwarf mongoose started popping out of little holes in the ground, and the lionesses, you know that sort of jump, when they jump onto the hole? It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Well, one of the coolest. How's the spider web here, Johan, in that wonderful light? Tell me, you got it? Tell me when? Right there. Okay, well, Cara was headed into this sort of general direction, so we might hear some alarm calls. Just saw some impala a moment ago, just in the thickets over there. Cara was sniffing and moving from tree to tree, phlegm and grimacing. This is her mother's territory. Shadulu is her mother. And no doubt Cara is trying to stay within her territory, but then also is very interested to know what her mom's been up to, because Shadulu's probably mated again. Who knows if she's even got cubs that have been away. So I wonder if there is an update on that. And if she does have cubs this time around, if she has them on Djuma, wouldn't that be a blessing? Wouldn't that be a true blessing? So there we have a beautiful Orb Web Spider. Let me have a look at which one it is. It's a golden orb in the morning. Spider webs are so obvious at this time of the day with all of the dew. Makes bushwalking quite tricky with the moisture. Get very wet shoes. Hence why I normally just use my sandals, because they dry out much quicker. tend to do very different designs. I don't have my spider book with me, but the different designs of the web actually enable people to identify them. Very, very different shapes. Some are accumulations, some are very small, some have funnels, cones. So there's a number of different types, and there's also quite a few spiders that don't build webs at all. Get the difference between Morphs and Myglomorphs, and Morphs are spiders that build webs like this for catching. They're generally sort of weaker looking spiders with venom that physically catch their prey with web, whereas Myglomorphs, which still have the ability to spin, it's one of the characteristics of true spiders, venom glands and spinnerets. They normally are a little bit more physical, and they run around and physically hunt their prey. We'll still use web to sort of cover up the hole or to attach their egg sacs somewhere. So sometimes you're not sure what the web might be, but there might be a very specific type of egg sac. There might be one, there might be a few. That could be the difference between a brown and black button spider. The sac spiders sort of stick their egg casings along thatch roofing. And the tropical tent web spiders, which are all over the place at the moment, make this very tent-like apparatus, which is very obvious. Okay, well, Shashala is on the radio, and she's out and about as well. Sounds like she's trying to catch up with some wild dogs.
I love tropical tent web spiders, but wild dogs are amazing too. We've had the most fun trying to get you. They've been running all over the place. Hyenas have been running all over the place. It seems that we can't get a break from a hyena roadblock. And all the hyenas left the area quickly, and they actually ended up here. With dogs, I'm just gonna get a little bit more forward, and I'll stop, and we can get a good visual. Hopefully. Just for us. Okay, I'll go forward a bit. There we go. There we go. Oh, they're going to the boundary. You know how it is with wild dogs, you gotta just keep moving. There we go, one good visual. Yes, doggies for the morning. That is great. Okay, so this is awesome. I've got to keep moving. They're going to start moving towards Buffelshoek Dam. So let me try and catch up with them. Hopefully we'll get a really, really nice scene with them.
It's the month of March, and Wild Earth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, and you could win a 5-day eco-training ranger experience for 2. Eco-training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the Wild Earth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply. Wild Earth explorer Jenny recently joined Tristan as he broadcast live from Djuma.
Awesome to kind of have a guest on board. I'm looking forward to this. This is Jenny.
Hi everyone.
And Jenny is the first of our Ticket to Dream holders.
If you want to go on safari with a Wild Earth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
Literally being with Tristan on the vehicle today has been incredible. It has truly been a dream come true.
Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
I would highly recommend being a part of the Explorer program and being able to be a part of an interactive live drive.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at and Beyond Pinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on Wild Earth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
We're still following them, and they're along the Buffelshoek cut line, which is our northern boundary at the moment, and they've decided to stop finally, because remember we were chasing them for quite a while. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a hunt. That would be amazing. But you see where this dog is standing at the moment, that's still Juma, and where the others are, they're just about to turn into Buffelshoek. But something's gotten their attention. Do you know how quickly these things can happen? One into Buffelshoek. Oh, look at it. Oh, Hyenas, as you heard, it's just coming from the back as well. Did you see the one jump up? I know we've got the silver cluster leaf in the way. Look at that. That's really interesting. So our vehicles are parked here, ours and one other's, but in order to see over us, to watch the hyenas, they've been jumping up. That is too cool. What a natural thing to extend yourself to be able to look over something. Come on. There are about 4 or 5 hyenas when we were going to the dogs, but now there's just 2 behind us. But like we saw, remember that sighting we had with the Juma clan and the dogs sitting next to each other and nobody bothering? Everyone was just kind of not enjoying each other's company, but rather tolerating each other. That was quite special. Alrighty, let's go! This is so exciting. Becca, good morning. You say they have such pretty markings. They really do. They're such beautiful animals. So beautiful. But apart from that, they've got this character. Sort of like a, for lack of a better term, a bit of a swagger. Hello, Gorge. You've got some sand on your nose. Oh, this is so fun. So fun. So this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we're going to find them at Buffelshoek Dam, which is not far from where they are at the moment. I'm just going to caution you about 2 things. One, if we do see a hunt, it happens very have time to say to you, if you're a sensitive viewer, look away. So I may not have that time. Let's just pull over here. And the second thing is my vehicle doesn't feel very good all of a sudden. So let's have a quick look here. It appears it won't be able to wild dog chase in the way that we're used to. It's not taking speed too well. So if I break down, my apologies. And if there's a kill and I can't warn you, my apologies. Alright. Well, we're just gonna see if we can follow again, but this time we're going to have to follow a little more slowly. Lovely. Well, one of my favorites, the wild dogs. I'll over to some of my favorites, which is Spiders with Steve.
Thanks, Trish. Good luck. Hopefully manage to catch up with them. So we can see in frame there's a couple of spider webs. The one that looks like a tent, and the very sort of lightish sort of coloured one looks like a tent stretched over a field, for example. That is a tropical tent web spider, and to the right of him is a typical sort of spider web. I can't tell you from here who it is. It might be another golden orb. It's a bit far off. But the tropical tent web's very easy to identify. And the orb web's generally quite easy to identify the species from the design. The golden orb's got a very, very thick yellow thread to it. I often got that stabilimentum in the garden orb, and then the golden orb has also got that sort of junk line of all the food critters that they've left to make it more visible. So experts, spider experts, would be able to tell you by looking at a web exactly who's who. I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near that caliber. But I do have a book somewhere amongst my belongings that has got some nice web design. Well, Charles, if you talk about the same spider species, then male and female, obviously the same species. I don't know if the golden orb males actually assist in the web production. I know they definitely live in the web, and the female sometimes tries to eat them, but I don't know if they assist in the production. But you don't often, as far as a community and spiders helping each other, there's only one species that comes to mind. That's the community web spiders. I'll try to find a nest for you this morning, and that's where a whole lot of them, 100, 200, 300 spiders come together to build a nest or a web that they're able to then catch much larger prey that they wouldn't on their own be able to consume or catch. So, and that's a community web spider. Other than that, you generally find lone spiders in webs, the bark spiders, the kite spiders and the like, the weavers. But then when talking about other species or same species, the golden orb is such an obvious example of the male and female in the web, but then also the kleptoparasite, the dewdrop spider that lives in the web of the golden orb and somehow manages to pass by her scrutiny. And he feeds off of food that she catches. It's known as a kleptoparasite because he's stealing food from her. She's negatively affected by losing food, and it is benefited. Hence why it's called a parasite. You've all heard of the term kleptomaniac, someone who can't stop stealing. The dewdrop spider, that's how they get by. But you realize suddenly in the dawn with the dew how many spiders there are around. And some people work out that you probably ingest or swallow 5 to 8 spiders in your lifetime. Just thought I'd let you know that interesting fact. I don't know who's gone and worked it out. But spiders are able to fly. It's a term known as ballooning. When an individual spider wants to move from one area to another, they send out this little line of silk that forms a little bit of a sail, almost like a paraglider, and then it picks them up and takes them, and they've been found very, very high up in the sky. Many records of swifts and swallows and the like that are feeding on aerial insects. Their crop contents obviously contains small spiders that they've caught on the wing. that have been ballooning. So it's like Spider-Man, very true story, able to fly and move through the air with great agility. Obviously, it's like a balloon. They are subject to wind direction, but the purpose of the ballooning is to move areas and to expand, and spiders are very, very good at colonizing an area. They are one of the first organisms to enter into an area. You can call them pioneers. Those of you who know, if you've not cleaned your house for a couple of days, the first thing that you notice is a few spider webs in the corners. Or if you've had a shed in the garden that hasn't seen attention for some time, you see how the spiders have moved in and completely colonized it. That's what they do. What they do, and those are just the ones that build the webs. Not to mention all the free roaming spiders moving about. Black widow spider, how prominent, or how appropriate that you are asking questions this morning. You want to know the largest spider we find here? I would say it's probably the baboon spider. We don't get the rain spider in this area as far as I'm aware. We do get it in Joburg, in Pretoria, and the Highveld. But I would say it is the baboon spider, which is basically related to the tarantula family. So that's a Myglomorph, a free-roaming, ground-dwelling spider that is born with a cutting tooth. Enables it to dig holes in the ground. Beautiful, symmetrical, circular hole in the ground, and dig into the ground to make sort of like a boot shape underground. And each one is quite specific how they like it. By the time they've dug that hole, that tooth, almost like a chipping tool or a woodworking tool, gets worn down to the point where they're only able to maintain that hole through their life. They're not able to dig one again. So it is against the law to remove those spiders from their holes and to have them as pets, as far as I'm aware. They are a protected species. They have a very fond sort of appreciation for their own holes, and they don't do very well with other holes. They are regarded as one of the important spiders for human consideration, just due to the fact that their bite is quite a painful pinch, but the venom is very mild and it's not to be concerned. Okay, well, we're going to move on. We're probably going to go check out Bufosuk, seeing as Car has given us a slip in. We're going to go maybe up to Bufosuk while we send you over to Tswalu with a beautiful scene.
Well, you guys have been having a fantastic morning. Myself and BK have driven that block absolutely finished. That brown hyena more than likely gave us a little sneaky there, and more than likely in that mountain residing. And the previous question that was asked, are they social? Yeah, so like we saw that one individual, that little brief glimpse that we had there, they normally forage solitary, and then going to their residing den site, anywhere from 5 to 18, 20 individuals can be found within a den site. So it shows they are very social animals, but not like the spotted hyena that will be roaming around in that very strong clan system. But it is still looking very beautiful over here. That massive system is pulled further into the east. It is now going south-southeast, and it's given us a bit of clear skies going out west. So we are starting to meander out west, and we are going to be looking for anything. We took a look at that track set, and we could see where that brown hyena actually stumbled upon. They more than likely met each other head on. The brown hyena was walking on the road, and that little group of Guinea Fowl came out, and just one was just too slow. So you could actually see where it was held down, pinned, and see where the wings were flapping, and then the hyena turned to walk further west, and then that's where we came. It turned around, made its way around the corner, and then made its way out into the block. But really amazing, even though it was just a tiny little glimpse. Bit of fowl. So BK has the luxury of making art every day. I mean, look at that. Fairly windy. Very beautiful. So unfortunately we couldn't jump off the vehicle to take a look at those lovely tracks, but in the next few minutes when BK gets to the very southern end of this mountain range, I'm going to show you what we were looking at, and just so that you can have clarity on that beautiful animal's footprint. When it comes to tracking, it is a very important tool used over here by the trackers, and very experienced tracking team we do have. Some of these gentlemen have been tracking their entire lives and tracking on Tswalu for 10, 15, 20 years. So what makes a great tracker is not his knowledge and his experience. It is a very, very important element, but it is knowing local information. So being based here for that extended period of time, your knowledge is priceless. Absolutely lovely. Look at that. It's like it's dissolving into the distance. Look at that. Ha la la. So, looking at this that little scene that we had yesterday, just to wrap up on that animal, also just so for you folks, you have the luxury of viewing the spotted and hyena lot at Djuma, and they are really remarkable animals. You can see from visual appearance there's a striking difference between that of the spotted hyena and the brown hyena. You can see the coat, the patterning, there's the ears, so there's a striking difference between these two animals, but the tracks are what we're going to be looking at now. And the difference between spotted hyena and brown hyena and the tracks is the size differential between that of the front and the rear track. You can see illustrated over here, this is the front track over here, and this is the hind. You can see a striking difference in size of this animal's track, whereas in the spotted hyena you can see they are similar set. So working and operating an area where you have both brown and spotted hyena, if you rely on this very, very easy principle, you can almost be 95%, 98% sure all the time. Obviously there are tricky situations where your gut says it is one and you go for the other. It's just how life is, but very easy to see. And looking at that between, for example, this now and a leopard, we're looking at the toes and the shape of these toes. Beautiful sickle shape. Oh, Sanesh, how do you tell the difference between male and female tracks? I think the female will be a little bit larger. Spotted hyena, I know your female track would be larger. She is a little bit bigger than that of the male. With brown hyena, I'm almost sure it would be the same. That's a great, Sanesh, very good question. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself in the near future. But I'm going to go with female being a little bit larger in the track set itself. But just looking at this track quickly, what we'll be relying on identifying this track in the future, the difference between a hyena track and a lion track, is looking at the toes, the shape of the toes. You can see this half moon shaped. The toes are also squashed together quite nicely, elongated structure, and then we're looking at these parts of the lobes having two, and there are claws present. In comparison to if we're looking at another type of cat, look at how round those toes are. Very, very round, no claws present, and then 1, 2, 3 lobes. Beautiful. So in the near future, when you start looking at these tracks again, as long as you've got those fundamentals, it'll be really enjoyable. Alrighty, but let's send you over to somebody else for a little bit.
So we found them first, and kudos to us. I'll take the pat on the back, even though it wasn't, I must say, it probably wasn't the hardest tracking session. They are in the riverbed where the lioness is denning. Actually, both lionesses are, yes. The one on the left is the new mother, whose cubs we haven't seen. The one on the right, where they just ran past, that is their mother. And those two lionesses are, of course, sisters. A whole big family reunion. And it's like just as you guys came to us, the energy just kicked in. for their youngsters again. So Khaat's very happy, I'm very happy. There's a little pale lioness joining in now. It's like they just decided to gang up on her. Honestly, you could just watch them play all day long. I have absolutely no problem with that. And we're lucky, it's cloudy. So both these mothers are still awake. Their heads are still up. They're still looking around. The babies have energy. If the sun was out, it'd be very hot already. And then it might be a different scenario. They're venturing further and further and further away from the mother. Probably getting ready to stalk back. See the little males in the middle now? They're very fast when they want to be. And now just attacking a jackalberry. So I'm fairly certain they're teething. So I'm pretty sure that's quite itchy already, which is why you'll find them eating branches, leaves, picking up things like that. It can just help with that pain, that itchiness. So, I mean, there could be different sort of scents in that tree. While they're biting it, they're tasting maybe a hippo that walked past there once, or an elephant, or even a hyena. Pretty sure, oopsie. Shouldn't like that. Like the little pale one's not really ready to play with the other sister. She'd rather play with the tree. Curious about us again. Lara, the cubs have, so we've seen them in quite a few different scenarios where they've met the female with the older two youngsters. They've met both the Ross males, they've met the two sub-adults that's been hanging around with these two females. And then the first time I saw this female move the cubs, she actually moved them through the entire Birmingham Pride with the white lions, with the two older lionesses. So yes, they've seen them, they've met them, but they haven't spent a lot of time together since the other half of the Pride has been inside Kruger or east of us for a long time. Excuse me. I got Mom's attention. Sorry, Mother. But yeah, they've not spent a lot of time. And like I said, I mean, these guys, they'll be going on to carcasses now. So it makes sense the mothers want to keep them apart, because the sub-adults, the larger ones, they won't let them feed. There's no chance that a little guy like this can fight a 3-year-old lion for a piece of meat. So here, if the mom kills something, she'll allow them to eat with her. And there'll be plenty of meat for everyone. Whereas with the rest of the Pride, the carcass will just go too quickly. Which is why I think the younger lioness and her two youngsters, they've also left. The ones we saw with the Ross male. There we go. And the paler one's just curious about us. They're coming very close. Oh, wow. She went right over him. Beautiful jump. Very acrobatic. a winter warmer, that is impossible to answer. All three of them are best friends. There aren't two that bond more than the other one. There's no reject or anything like that. You know, all of them were born at the same time. They were left in a den for the same amount of time, and yet they're just best friends, all three of them. There's no exclusion. They're digging in the sand. So this is the pale lioness and the little male. I'm pretty sure they also know there would be cubs behind us in the bush here, but the other mother, if they had to come too close, I'm fairly certain she'll start growling or even charge at them. Just as a warning, don't go close to my babies, because of course at this age, if they see a 4-week-old, 3-week-old baby lion, they're just going to treat it like a toy. You have to feel sorry for the mom every now and then. She looks so at peace, like she's so ready to snooze, and then comes a baby and just bites her head. And she just lets it happen. Shifts her head a little bit to a more comfortable position on the paw and goes back to sleep. So even that, can you see how it's holding the branch and then kicking with its hind legs? That's all a learning curve. I don't know if any of you have ever played with a cat, but the same thing happens. They'll hold onto your hand with the front paws and then kick away with their hind legs. This, it's a killing strategy. So even at this age, it is instinctual. They know this is how they'll hunt at a later stage. Poor Jackleberry. I think the one's got a piece of stick stuck in its teeth. The one on the right. Oh, that's so bouncy. That was trying to climb the tree. Oh, no, he's fallen out. Never mind. Why? Just attacking mom's leg. Really no reason for it. She hasn't done anything wrong. I was wondering, I mean, she'd be able to hear them running around, and I wonder if she braces herself inside whenever she hears them coming closer. They're not playing with the other lioness, even though I must say the tail must look, well, quite fun to play with every now and then. It's wagging around, trying to ward off flies. But they're not going anywhere close to the other lioness. What they're looking at now is we've got a plane that's flying over. It's part of our anti-poaching unit. So they just fly over the property nearly every day. She's going to come over now, so we might hear it. Just excuse the noise. It's attracting everyone's attention now. They're all watching the big steel bird.
Hi, my name is Damon and I'm a guide here at Beyond Pinder Private Game Reserve. Join me and our resident ecologist Craig Shelter Douglas at the fireside on the 21st of March for a discussion on 2 of our conservation projects. In early 2016, Beyond was faced with the fact that without some serious intervention, our rhino population could be in some serious trouble. And so a decision was made to start a rhino dehorning program. Sadly, the fastest mammal on land, the cheetah, is also racing towards extinction. The Ambient Pindar Conservation Team has been working on a project that aims to increase the genetic integrity of cheetah in protected areas around the country. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer and join us for a lively debate where we'll answer as many of your questions as possible.
Our lives are dictated by alarm clocks, traffic jams, constant multitasking, and countless distractions. The wilderness is where many of us feel the most human. On a bushwalk, we become part of the natural landscape. As you step off the vehicle, everything comes alive. As with any risky experience, walking amongst these animals inspires awe and appreciation. Now, it's your turn to go on a bushwalk. Join us from Pride Lands as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with a place that first taught us how to be human.
My name is Taylor McCurdy and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on Wild Earth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the live feed.
Welcome back to Djuma, everybody, where we've got some big elephant bottoms moving into the bushes and a small breeding herd of about maybe 15 elephants just cross in front of us and now walking into the thickets. Quite interesting because the band of Terminalia, the silver cluster leaf that is just here, they're walking through just below it. They all stopped and there was a little freestanding pan or puddle of water. The silver cluster leaves, as we all should know by now, indicate a seep line. They indicate an area where the sandy soil meets some clay, and if there's a lot of water in the water table, it actually goes down the sandy area, hits the clay and pushes to the surface, and we call that a seep line. So I'm going to try and get you another elephant on camera, but they've all decided to go hiding in the bushes. Let me see if I can go back. Maybe we get another view. Maybe if I could drive straight, that would be quite helpful. So they've gone straight into the area that Clara went into. Okay, we try to get another view of our elephants, and while we do so, let's send you back over to the cuteness that is with Rowan and his lion cubs.
So, this little lioness that's coming closer now, she's curious about us, but I actually do think she wants to get closer to the bush where the other youngsters are inside. So I'm pretty sure she knows about it. Look, now she's going to get a fright while the male sneaks up to her. No? Made too much noise. Someone's getting hurt there. You could hear the soft groaning. Almost turning around. It's funny, they haven't gone and begged for milk yet, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen a little bit later. I do think cubs suffer. Whoopsie, right over. That's a beautiful somersault. I think of all the youngsters, the little pale one is the most acrobatic. She went right over the head of the young male earlier, and now she's somersaulted over her mom. Let's see what else she can do. Can hear the plane coming again, but they're not, none of them are looking up yet. There we go. Now they caught it. It's like a little kid seeing a big bird for the first time. It's just so curious. Even the one with the mouth open, like just gaping up at the sky. And then they lose interest. I do think they have a bit of ADD. See paws flying all over. Can you imagine? This must be so much fun for them. Being in and around the riverbed, there's just so many tiny places to explore. Lorraine, I think at this stage, probably about a day. You know, they're also at the stage where they're drinking milk, and I'm pretty sure Mom would feel that necessity, especially in her teats when she needs to feed them. So I think either an entire day, I'm talking 12 hours, or an entire night, and then head back to them. So yesterday afternoon, we found these two lionesses and the two sub-adults, also two females, away from this area. They were alone, away from the cubs. So she must have just left them in this area. And I think sometime last night, she would have come back and fetched them. They're clever though. They know when there's danger, don't be out and about. When Mom is not around, stay in a bush. Okay, yeah, they might get a little bit bored and you'll hear them playing like this inside a thicket, which is a danger to themselves, but, you know, they're youngsters. What can you do? Go wake Mom. Yes, they're good tacklers. Phenomenal rugby players. Or maybe now it's time to drink. No. So that's the little boy and the girl racing around. And the paler lioness, or cub. Yeah. Can hear a bit of moaning there, scratching Mom, playing with Mom. So that's the male. Back to the tree. It was funny to watch early on. The little pale cub, she was playing with a certain branch and getting really protective of it. The male approached and she growled at him and was saying, "This is my branch, don't you dare play with it." Of course, now they're all playing with the same branch. A little acrobatic one. Right on top of the Mom. And actually it does look quite comfortable. Jane, no, this is not a dog. They do not wag their tails for happiness. Although they do show their moods with their tails. They'll wag their tail to get rid of flies. And then the tail, majority of animals will actually raise up vertically if they are unhappy. So one thing, if you are parked next to a lion or leopard and they're staring at you, you should always watch the tail. But no, not to show happiness in the sense that a dog does. Oh, that one's got the other one's tail. I must say, when we first saw them, they had these bold patches on them. The tail looked bad, just a bit of mange. But if you look at them now, all this has disappeared. Fur's grown back. Oh, now the one's grabbing the mom's tail. The other one's on top of her. Poor mother. Just so much patience. You wouldn't believe that this is the apex predator. I mean, that lioness can bring down a wildebeest by herself if she wants to. And then just look how much patience she has. So gentle. Basically looks like he's riding a motorcycle. Sorry, she. That's a darker little cub. Just so no more mange. You can't really see bald spots on them anymore, so all that has grown back as well. Remember early on, I think when they're about, oopsie, now they broke the branch. Just basically fell out of the tree. Look at the mom. She stayed up to see if any vulture flew out. And it was actually the baby that broke the tree. It was absolutely magical. We're going to sit here for quite a while, or maybe for another couple of minutes. Then I need to hear where Fred is. I know he's coming to this area. But we'll try to stay here for as long as possible. It sounds like it stopped raining at Pinda, so we're just going to send you over that side.
Good morning, if a little bit of a late good morning from Ambient Pinda. Like Rowan was saying, it's been raining here the whole morning and we finally managed to get out with a break in the clouds. And the bush is alive with bird calls. It's lovely and fresh. My name is Damon. Behind the camera this morning is Craig. And we've come out in the hope of looking for that mating pair of lions. There were tracks of them heading kind of to the north from the open areas in front of Mountain Lodge. So we're going to head out and see if we can't find where those tracks go. Along the way though, with all the rain, the grass is kind of covered in water droplets. And so is this spider web that we spotted thanks to the glistening raindrops in the web there. And have a look in the middle. Can you see there's a lichen colored, like an ashy greenish blob in the middle? And that is a female bark spider sitting on her web. Shame, look at how it's drooping from under the weight of all the water. And it's quite tough to see, but looking through my binoculars, it's quite amazing to see just how wide this web is. And I'll get back to that in just a second. But Cheetah, you're asking if it's possible for a spider to get trapped in its own web. Cheetah, I've never seen that happen or heard of that happening. And what spiders do to ensure that doesn't happen is that they have got these little hooks on their feet, and they use those little hooks to kind of grip onto the web. They've also got different kinds of silk that they use in different parts of the web. So some parts of the web won't be as sticky as others. And those parts that the spider is going to be using as kind of little networks or roads to walk on, or pathways to walk on or clamber along, will be the parts that it won't get stuck to. And it tends to be those thicker lines those lines that anchor the web onto branches that are less sticky, so the spider won't get caught. And those little hooks, almost like a bat's claws, or like grappling hooks, allowed to kind of clamber along the web. But I was just going to say, it's quite incredible to see how, even though this web in front of us looks only to be maybe about 50 centimeters across, 60 centimeters across, its anchor lines are a huge distance apart from each other. My goodness, the one on the left is probably, if I had to estimate, maybe about 3 meters from the center of the web, anchored up in a tree. And the one on the right is also anchored in a tree, but also 3 or 4 meters to the right. So the spider's got a serious kind of anchor line that in total from one side to the other probably spans maybe 9 or 10 meters across. That would have been a serious feat to get it all anchored and set up last night, or whenever the spider first constructed this web here. Of course, bark spiders being nocturnal, they'll have to remake their web every single night. And so every morning she'll kind of feed, she'll take in the web, she'll almost like re-ingest the web to save energy, but leave the trip line or leave the anchor line, and then she'll respin it every night in the hope of catching prey. Waikesha, you're asking if all spiders are venomous? Waikesha, yes, they are, to the best of my knowledge, but not all of them are dangerous to humans. Of course, spiders rely on their venom not only for killing their prey, but also to help them to digest their prey. The venom, once they envenomate their prey, starts the process of digestion. It starts to break down the prey until basically the innards of the prey become like a soup, and the spider isn't able to use its fangs to basically drink the contents of its prey. And that's how it feeds. And so I think this female bark spider, like I was saying, because she's nocturnal, normally by this time of the morning on a sunny day, a day that wasn't overcast, she would have already kind of re-ingested her web and gone along her anchor line back to one of the anchor points, into one of the trees, and then she would have used her excellent camouflage to sit very still and try to avoid getting detected by predators. And then every night, once it's dark enough, she'll crawl back out along that anchor line, and she'll then respin that web. And it's absolutely incredible to watch a spider doing this. And I hope that as many of you as possible have had a chance to see it, because it's amazing to see the precision. Craig, you're asking how much of the spider's life will be spent on building webs. Well, Craig, it'll be every single night. This female bark spider will come out and she'll have to spin her web for her entire life. Every single night she'll come out and she'll spend, it depends on how big the web is, but and how much wind there is and how many disturbances there are. But she'll spend the early part of the evening spinning that web, and then once it's set, she'll sit there in the middle and then hope that something flies into it that she can catch and eat. And I was just going to say, I've watched one of these bark spiders spinning a web on a very, very, very windy evening across a little game trail. And even with the wind, the web was literally bouncing forwards and backwards. And she was still able to lay down all of those kind of concentric circles inside the web without missing a beat. And she was able to keep all of those concentric circles almost perfectly equidistant from each other. But very special to see. I think we're going to leave this bark spider, go see if we can find any tracks of those lines. Let's go across to Taylor in the meantime.
Now, just as Damon has been battling the rain this morning, we had the same thing happen to us. But it looks as though the clouds are lifting and we have been able to come back out again. But we're back at Ndlovu Dam, where we've got a whole bunch of elephants, of course, in the water. And then there's a breeding herd that is standing right up on top of the dam wall, contemplating whether they'll come on in to have a swim. But there's a lot of commotion going on. And normally when the breeding herds come around, as we always see, the bulls are very much attracted to them. And then they go looking for trouble. And with young calves in very deep water, that's probably not the best thing. So maybe they'll just move off to the side and drink at the furthest distance away from the bulls. There's a little elephant going into the water now. Off you go. Mom taking the shallowest way, although it's not going to be very shallow for that little elephant. Oi! Popping down into some of the holes. can remember when these animals constantly are moving through there, they create those huge depressions in the ground. So I don't think I would be able to even stay up on my 2 feet walking through there. I would tumble on down all over the show. But it's been very exciting. There's lots of trumpeting early this morning because Ezulwini, who is the great tusker that we're very privileged to see, he was around here. He's still in camp at the moment. And we did have him on foot briefly, but I don't think he's going to stray too far, especially with all the breeding herds that are moving through this area. I reckon he'll stay around for quite some time. So who knows? He might pop right over the top of the dam wall again, which would be exciting. And we might even try and find some of his tracks that we saw just a little bit further up the road, just to give you an indication of how massive he really is. But this is such a lovely scene. Oh, Niels, can you see that elephant that is got its head up and its trunk up in the water just to the right? It's playing with a stick at the moment, it looks like. Safari Detective, yes, Pridelands does indeed have a daily pool party, and if it's not happening here at Ndlovu Dam, it's most certainly happening at a leopard dam, which is quite something to see. But it is wonderful. It always makes me laugh, though, when these animals find a stick or something that they shouldn't maybe have, and they start playing with it. I say this, and I'm holding 2 pieces of grass in my hand and waving them around, too. So I suppose I'm just as bad as the elephants. But those 2 bulls that are just out in the middle of the dam now, you'll see them every now and then. A massive log comes up, and they throw it around. Oh, they've put it down now. It's like a pool noodle. Each just jumping on one another's backs, which is very typical to see of the elephants here. It's actually such a nice morning. It's very pleasant to be out here when it's not super hot. We've had, like we've been saying, we've had some really, really warm days. So overcast and a bit of a drizzle was a warm welcome. And hopefully with that bit of drizzle, maybe we'll start to see some more insect life, because it's been particularly quiet. All moving together again. Synchronized swimming, but maybe a bit more brute force involved, not quite as graceful and delicate that typically synchronized swimming is, especially when the bulls are involved. But we're just a little bit too far away to hear any of the splashing, I'm afraid, so I'm not going to be able to sit too quietly. And because of all the rain, some of the team that were going out on walk, some of the students have actually made their way back to camp as well, so there's a little bit of chatter as they are just reading about trees and insects and learning about all the wonderful things, and probably observing the elephants too. It's so important, I always say it. I think the students at Eco Training, and especially those that come through to Pridelands, are very fortunate to learn valuable information and behaviors about elephants, more so than in a lot of locations, just because we have so many of them coming through. And let's be honest, when you're out on safari, elephants are very important. The animal that you probably need to get the most experience with when you're driving around. You can maybe hear some people chatting just in the distance. We will try and reposition at some point to the other side of the dam, to the southern corner, because then we'll be a little bit closer and hopefully we'll be able to hear them splashing around. But I don't think we're going to make that move right now, because if we do that, we'll potentially lose our feed. I think that's exactly what we're going to go and do now, is maybe go and sit up on some of the fallen trees and continue to watch the elephants.
It's the month of March, and Wild Earth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, and you could win a 5-day Eco Training Ranger experience for 2. Eco Training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the Wild Earth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply.
For all of you Wild Earth explorers who bought plaques, today is the day that you will make your very first safari on our vehicle. Because we are quite remote here in the bush, they have taken some time to arrive, but I am happy to say they are here and they look great. Marcel has spent the day attaching them. Let's take a look.
Before we mount these nameplates, we just give a light dusting of green paint. This is to better match them to the color of the vehicles and also to decrease the reflectivity of the metal and thereby staying sensitive towards the animals.
Bumble crew, hopefully Dan Black, Liesel Apgar and Alicia George. Well, it's time for me to get ready to take you all on a safari. Let's go.
I love being a cam op for Wild Earth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Djuma, where we were on a little bit of a bumble. Our elephants went off into the block, so we went back over towards the western side. Let's see what we can see. So far, it's been pretty quiet, but it's a lovely temperature this morning. It definitely feels like there is some rain on the horizon. Seems to be pulling in. Not sure if it's gonna rain, but there's definitely some cloud cover. It's going to make for a lovely cool morning. Lovely morning to do burpees. Cool temperatures facilitate nice exercise. Okay, so we're slowly heading south and then we might head over towards the east. We're just re-establishing our awareness of the property. Not that I really need to re-establish the awareness, but it's nice to see what the roads are looking like, what the bush is looking like, and by covering a huge amount of area, you also know that when I find tracks tomorrow, I'll know whether I drove there or not. It's impossible for me to have known or to have asked Andrew. Oh, there's an African Harrier hawk at the bottom of that tree. Can you see him, Johan? The nest raiding specialist, previously known as the gymnogene. Very easy to identify. That grey body and the yellow face. And he's flying very low, the very broad wings, which is what gives it the name the Harrier. And just like that, he's gone. So they've got a very good ability to fly quite low, sort of just above the tree line. It's something Harriers do, just this low flapping glide. And what it does is it actually attracts birds to come and sort of mob them. And the more vigorous the bird behavior is, the closer to nest that bird knows that it is. And it'll often land and then start to pay attention to what the birds are doing. And it's able to climb up the tree holding on with its wings, and then it's able to put its leg into cavities in the tree. We spoke about starlings and hornbills and all those birds that make cavity trees, cavities and cavity nests in trees due to woodpeckers and barbets. And the hornbill closes those cavities off into a little slit. It makes it very difficult for the Harrier hawk to get its foot in. Monitor lizards and snakes as well can't really access. Hence why we have so many hornbills. But the Harrier hawk, very, very unique behavior. That long, narrow face as well enables them to stick their face into crevices and rocks. And so they're able to access food that other birds of prey aren't able to. You don't see them behaving like any other typical raptor that plunge, dive and catch and sort of speed hunting. It's all very methodical. Walk through a tree holding on, finding those cavities and then ripping chicks out and squirrels out and whatever else they can find hidden in the depths. I still like the name gymnogene. I don't know why they changed it. African Harrier hawk, there's so many more words. For a long time I used to get the African Harrier hawk and the African hawk eagle. Because just the names are so similar, aren't they? Not really, but there's more similarities to that than to gymnogene. But it's okay. I know many of you out there are still old birding name sort of enthusiasts, and that's still fine. Really, really still fine. I'm blessed that when I started learning bird names, they'd already changed. Most of them anyway. They're still changing them as we move, and many of you might ask, why on earth did they change names? And South Africa, for one, was out of sort of the world birding community for some time. We had our own standards, our own norms, our own ways of doing things, and you get many Europeans coming down to South Africa when tourism opened and going, I'm going to go see the Hughlings robin, that's this new bird. And then they get down here and it's actually another bird that they've seen before. So it's nothing new to them. So they're just trying to standardize and conform the names globally. Okay, well, we're going to send you over to Tswalu while we bumble along. Looks like they've got a small little antelope.
Changing the name of birds just to sell more copies. I'm only joking, that's actually not nice, Carl. I'm only joking. It's just so we can have clarity. I know for some people it's a little frustrating, and for the birding guides, definitely keeps you on your toes, and it allows you to have this driving factor to always, be updated and be on it. It's very, very important. But in terms of globally, not just the content, but globally, just to have clarity within the relationships of species and similar species, it's very, very good. Also, genetics is unraveling some very intriguing stuff about them. But, definitely keeps me on my toes. We are in the grassy plain, so we've crossed over that dune, and we've left the baboons moving east, and we've come across this lovely Sable Bull grazing away. They are predominantly grazers, so preferring a certain of grass, and this bull just munching away. By himself as well. And you can see from his coat color, or the color of his coat, that this is a bull. A female would have a beautiful dark chocolatey coat, and her horns would not be as long as this individual over here. Obviously males will use them for competition, so their horns would need to be longer. Wow, and look at that set, oh my word. They've got such a dominating, such a very strong presence about them, with that very, very thick neck and broad shoulders. Very nice. Okay, let's see if we can sneak up a bit over here for you folks. And see if we can get a better view. And there's a beautiful white-browed sparrow we were busy making a call here on our right-hand side. And actually, let's just sit here for a few seconds. I see this individual is bringing back nesting material. And this would obviously be to tailor that lovely nest over there. Very, very easy to recognize. Edge? backwards. Oh, sorry. Let me show you here, folks, what we're looking at. Sorry, my apologies. There is the bird. Choop. And there goes the bird. But yeah, very distinctive nests over here. BK it gives us a little view. That nest is very distinctive. So unlike the communal species, the sociable weaver, these individuals build their own nests within a loose colony within these thorny trees. So you can see how important these thorny trees are. Of course, now those thorns would also be now an anchoring point for this bird to create this lovely nest. Huh? A rainbow tiger? What is the material used to make the nest? So they would use the dry material, the dry parts of grass. Basically the stem of the grass would be used over here. And it looks very messy. The exterior looks very, very messy. But if we get a chance to see the underside or the entrance of this lovely nest, you'll see that they actually take a lot of time and effort to make it really neat, and how they weave and crisscross the pieces of material to make this beautiful tunnel going straight up into the chamber. It's really remarkable, but definitely looks like a bit of a messy job, like it was almost rushed to create this nest. I can't just get over the colors, folks. So the colors at the moment are just so beautiful. The color scheme of now the grass being this light color, and then that dark sky that we have in the southern part is just so dramatic. So let's show you how beautiful it is. This is going to open up very shortly. So we're coming to a junction where 4 roads meet, 5 roads meet, and this becomes quite an open little patch, and then gives us a better view of the landscape, and then also this developed woody area. These are all camel thorns over here, and you can see what a dominating species it is, which is really nice. But really beautiful to see, and like I said, just this color scheme right now is just mind-boggling. Let's use this road. But we're going to continue looking for anything and everything, but let's send you over to Ngala.
So we actually just came to exactly the same spot we were yesterday and caught up with exactly the same 4 cheetah that we saw yesterday. And what's also mind-boggling to me is that they haven't moved. Bizarrely, they are exactly where they were yesterday. So it means they haven't hunted. Actually, Mom looks not completely out of breath. The youngsters were a bit shy again as we rolled up, as the vehicle came closer, and actually 2 of them got up and they moved a little bit further off. But again, we are a lot closer than we were yesterday to them. So step by step, slowly but surely, we are making progress. I think what could have happened last night when we were sitting with a young male and he was roaring every now and then, the Ross male that is still about 500 meters from here, he was also roaring together with the young male sister, and I think that maybe made them cautious about moving the cheetah. Rather keep your enemies close, so they would know exactly where the lines were at that stage. But again, I mean, this is prime hunting condition for cheetah, staying in this clearing, and maybe they're just biding their time. Other places, if they go north of here, the grass gets very long, as big Wari thicket and Combretum thicket, and then if they go south of here, they go into the river, which that could be a danger because too many lions or leopards. So this is a good spot to just relax. It's not like she's territorial. I don't think she needs to go anywhere and mark her territory, even though they do have territorial tendencies. So you would see them marking their territory and things like that, but they're not really fiercely territorial as lions and leopards are. So she could just spend her time here, which I'd be happy with. Lovely to actually show guests coming to Ngala that the cheetahs do occur here. It's a bit like a unicorn, bit of a myth. But now they are here. Absolutely lovely. See, she's wagging her tail quite... Well, that one's trying to clean itself, I think. There are a lot of flies around, but no vultures. They're not feeding on a carcass. And also, yes, I don't think they've eaten. Although, I must say, the youngster we've focused on now, you can see that leg moving quite quickly, so they're breathing heavily. But I think it might just be the heat or the pressure from us. Jackson, the long grass is actually good for hunting. It makes it easier for these predators to stalk closer to their prey. So cheetahs also stalk their prey, like lions and leopards do, but then they've got that incredible speed that helps them along. So they don't really need to be as close as lion or leopards, but it would help. Every little bit helps. It's that element of surprise that really helps them out. So the longer the grass, the easier it is for them to hide in the grass, especially for ambush predators. But then, thing is, it makes for cheetah, it's a bit dangerous as well, in the same breath, because lions and leopards could start stalking them. Which is why open clearings like this, even though the grass is long, I mean, if we were driving on the road that we just came off, luckily the youngsters are a bit unrelaxed, so they pop their heads up, and that's how we were able to spot them. But if she was lying down like that, you would never see her. And she's about 200 meters from the road that we turned off from. So luckily, I mean, we came into this area expecting or hoping that we would see cheetah, and that's the one thing we looked out for, is these 4 little heads popping up. But yeah, the long grass definitely helps to hide them. So we might sit here for a while, see if anything changes. Sounds like Damon has had some luck on Pinda, so we're going to send you across that way.
Ambient Pinda, you've joined us just in time. Craig and I found tracks of this male lion, and we've been following him down, or following the tracks down the road. We just caught a glimpse of him off the road, and luckily, he's come right back onto it and is walking straight towards us. We could see tracks of the lioness from yesterday as well. Those of you who were watching yesterday would have remembered that he was mating with the lioness, and she seems to have given him the slip during the night. And now he seems to be trying to find her again. Without much success. Her tracks crossed off of the road behind us, heading into the thick bush, and that seems to be where he's going now too. Dense bush. I don't know if you can see, he's walking with his nose to the ground, trying to find her scent, which is going to be no mean feat now after the rain, of course. The water would have washed away all of the smells, and yeah, he's going to have quite a tough time trying to find her again. But I can just every now and then catch a glimpse of him. He seems to be moving quite slowly, maybe a bit unsure of exactly where the smell has got. Track lines, especially after the rain, sometimes, you know, a bit of water or the raindrops can conceal the tracks, can wash the tracks away. But he's coming right back towards the road. Obviously the road being a path of least resistance, and where the lioness was walking will mean that he should come back here, keep following her scent trail. But there's something that's caught his attention, and he's just stopped to smell again. And I'm hoping that he's going to come right back onto the road behind us and then keep going up the hill, because that'll be wonderful for us to then try and follow him, see where he goes, and see if he can't find this lioness. To find another lion to lead us there. So we'll just wait for him to turn around. Okay, we're going to turn the vehicle around and try and see if we'll hope that he comes back onto the road. and then we'll try and follow him. Meanwhile, let's go across to see Bumble's going.
Thanks, Damon. Well, good luck with your lions. I don't know what they look like anymore. I'm only joking. It's been a while. We spent a bit of time with the lioness on Pridelands, which was pretty cool. I was very disappointed I didn't get to see her little cubs. I saw a video of them. I never got to see the cubs. But we are and have been searching for activity of lions coming in and out of Djuma. It does happen every morning. We have the potential to find the newspaper articles highlighting lion tracks coming in. And when I say that, that's the tracks in the sand, everybody, not a physical newspaper article. It's something the trackers always used to talk about. We go out in the morning and read the newspaper, the highlights of the night before. This morning, we didn't even get to see a track yet when we found Cara, which is quite special. Just saw this thing as I came around the corner. I was like, it looks like a leopard. Hello, Becca. On Djuma, we're 1,200 hectares. Buffelshoek's probably double that, and Torchwood is just a little bit bigger. I don't know the exact numbers of them, but you're looking at maybe 5,000 in total. But a rough guess? I don't know if anybody's got the full math out there. I don't actually have it. But it is also open to all the properties to the south of us, and to the Kruger Park to the east, and Manuleti to the north. So it's a very extensive area. The Kruger National Park itself is 2.2 million hectares. It's about 4.4 million acres. And that was without the Limpopo Transfrontier National Park, which almost is double that. And then with all the associated private reserves, I know that Timavati, Balule, Umbabat and Kluseria make up about 180,000. Sabi Sands makes up about 68,000. So it's a huge area. The Kruger Park is larger than the country of Wales. If you're from Wales, you might be going, yeah, Wales. And all you Welsh out there, I know you love it when you hear the Wales. We shout out for the Wales. I enjoy Welsh rugby. Always good fun. Welsh people are highly good value. Got a few Welsh friends. Always good value. Okay, so anyway, we had tracks of a female leopard crossing the Mawati just now on top of our tracks from last night. I was just talking to Johan about how I like to, when I get back onto Djuma, to drive the same sort of area a few times. It just makes my tracks a little bit more evident. I know where I've been. I think I was telling you as well. And then it means that when I drive an area, I know when I was last there. And those leopard tracks were on top of mine coming into this direction. This is the Mawati on the right, called Mamba Loop. Maybe I'll give you a little idea of where we are, where we've been this morning. We always like to see the map. My map's just got a few marks on it from last time. I don't know if I've got my marker. Okay, let me turn it the right way around. Okay, so we are right over here at the moment in a road called Mamba Loop that goes all the way down. Let me get my little pointer. That goes all the way down over here along the drainage, and we're going to pop out there shortly. So we started this morning at camp over here. We had the leopard just there. We followed her along here. She cut through the block, and we lost her somewhere about over there. The elephants we had before were right over here. Trishala has broken down somewhere over there, and we've done sort of this loop all the way down, and we're here again. So I did a similar loop yesterday on my way back to camp, and so the tracks, last night we had some tracks coming in over here on the east, and now we've got them again coming in over there on the western side of the drainage. So we're just going to work this area a little bit. This is just Djuma, by the way. I need to find the other map of Buffelshoek and Torchwood that I left here last time. It seems to have flown away somewhere. It's probably somewhere we'll find it. Maybe I'll go check Final Control. So it's nice to familiarize yourself with the area and with the locations and the roads. And it's important to know them if you want to call in a sighting, or specifically if you want to go to one.
On the 27th of April, Wild Earth will be turning 14 years old, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you. And to celebrate, we will be finishing the beautiful book that we started last year that looks at the history so far. But we do need you to be part of it. Please submit your most memorable sighting, or what Wild Earth means to you, or even just your name and a comment to be included inside the book. Head over to the website to add your name and reserve your copy. We are offering a 20% discount on all books bought before the end of March. And a big thank you to all of you who have contributed to the book so far.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that?
Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I'll tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Areas. So, see the ears sticking back, listening to us, and the eyes forward. Linda, so of the predators in this area, these are actually the least successful hunters. Even though they've got that incredible speed, if they miss a hunt, they need to cool down. You can imagine their heart rate just goes through the roof to get to top speed. And so if they miss their prey, if they don't actually get their hit, they need to wait a long time before they hunt again. Whereas leopards and lions, they stalk as closely as possible to their prey. Sorry, it's the other one is now starting to play with the tree, but like the lion cubs did a little bit earlier. So yeah, and then we've had it quite often where cheetahs lose whatever they killed to either hyenas or vultures or lions or leopards or really any other predator in this area. I think their success rate sits at about 15 or 20%, so really not high at all. And saying that, I mean, in the same breath, this mother has raised these youngsters to 9 or 10 months old already, and that's 4 mouths to feed. So I think she has got her hunting skill quite down. She must be quite phenomenal at it. Now started to play with the tree, also biting branches. Mom's rolled around again, now she's facing in the opposite direction, just scanning every now and then. So her head is still up, even though it's below the grass vines. It's quite tough to see, but her head is still up and taking everything in. She just looks like a satisfied cat. So in weather like today, even though we did find them this morning, there's not a guarantee that they'll be here this afternoon. I mean, it's cloudy, it's not too warm. Not like yesterday. There isn't that big contrast between the grass that's in the sun and actual shade that the cheetah is lying in. So it's very possible that, later on, they might just get up and try and hunt something if the opportunity presents itself. Otherwise, they'll probably wait till cooler temperatures, maybe till about 5:30 this afternoon. I hope they stay here the whole day. I'd like to come back this afternoon. So the third youngster got up and then you can't... Oh, it's moving towards the other youngster that was playing with the tree. I'm going to try to see what they're up to. Oh, it's climbing a tree. Not that it's a massive tree to Young animals are just extraordinary to watch. It's actually in the tree and just poking its brother. Or sister. Sibling. Here comes the third one. There we go. There's a lovely shot of all three of the youngsters. Right out. But you can see now they're all staring at us like, what are we doing? This was nice. It does show that they are definitely relaxing with us in their presence. It's a slow process of habituation. Very, very, very slow process, especially when they're this age already. It would have been easier if they were younger, because then they see from that age how mom reacts to us. JP, I think a lot of it has to do with body language, with all cats. Then they do... So cheetah actually are the only big cats that purr. They can do that. And then when they call, it's... You wouldn't expect the sound to resonate from a cheetah, to come from, a big cat. It's a bird-like chirp. And they often do that when they are searching for each other. So a bit like a contact call between them. There's a chirping sound. I think with a lot of these animals, there isn't always vocal communication. Rather, body language counts a lot. And watching the lion cubs earlier, see if the mom didn't even have to do anything or make any sound. And the youngsters would just be able to know that danger's approaching, they need to get into the bush, and that's often what happens. Or when they go hunting, when the parents go hunting, then the cheetah or any cubs would really know, okay, we are not fit for this, we need to stay here. You don't need the mother to say anything, to tell them anything vocally. They just know. All different ways of communication. You can see that little white tip of the tail. It's going from side to side. I think this cheetah's actually spotted something way off in the distance, or maybe heard something. Still just wants to play. Always the young animals that have way more energy. The mother's still lying down in exactly the same spot. Not even looking at us. Oh, this youngster's going towards the mom. Thing is, for him or her to go towards the mom means that it's actually getting closer to us. I might do it quite slowly. Jane, not these four. Like I said, the youngsters aren't habituated. They are quite shy around us. But I was speaking to Gert earlier, and he was telling me that when he was at Pinda, filming there, that the cheetahs, actually, they do play under and around the vehicle. So they do it. It just, depends on how habituated, how used to vehicles they are. These ones, as you can see, are not used to us. I mean, if I had to start the car now, I'm pretty sure all three youngsters would jump up. Mom wouldn't bat an eyelid. So if it was her by herself, it would be parked a lot closer. And if she was walking, we'd be able to actually park in such a way that she would walk right past the vehicle. But with these three, they would give us a very wide berth. So no, they don't come up to the vehicle yet, Jane. Yet being the key word there, because we are working on habituation. That's why we're spending so much time with them while they are still here. But it's a sad reality with Cheetah is, I think, tomorrow they'd be gone. Although we did find them yesterday morning, and they've spent an entire day here, so it could be that tomorrow they just find something to eat, and they're still in the area, or tomorrow they'll just be completely gone. And they're very hard animals to track, because when they see you on foot, oof, they run. And run very far, and don't stop running. And so trying to find them again with the vehicle is near to impossible. So of course, every single time I talk about habituation, it's us with the vehicle, not us on foot. MMA, I think it's pretty much the same with any of the big cats. So 4 in total. She's got 4 teats. So I must say, like, again, hat off to this female to be able to raise 3 to this size. I've never seen more than 5 cheetah altogether. The max I've ever seen was 5, mother and 4. That was also quite a sight. Who knows, it could have been the same mother. And this was 6 years ago that I saw that in the southern part of Ngala, and quite likely it could have been the same mom. Some animals are just excellent moms. So all the time it's the one youngster that seems to be a bit more playful than the others. Just goes to its sibling and looks for trouble. It's a beautiful cat, hey? And the spots, the body, the way it's built. But I was saying to Kat, it's a difficult cat to photograph for me, because the eyes are so dark. Not like a leopard or a lion that you can actually capture the green or blue of the eye. But cheetah, they've got brownish orange eyes that are rather dark. Quite hard to capture that emotion in the eyes. Okay, so we might stay here for a little while longer, you know. It's been a long time since I spent a good amount of time with Cheetah. But for now, we're going to send you to Tswalu and a couple of birds in the road. I would agree there with Ron. Cheetah are a very difficult subject to photograph. You need the right light. The animal needs to be in the right position to make a really entertaining photo to grasp and capture somebody's attention. So we have seen these wonderful birds before, the double-banded sandgrass, but it is always a treat just to stop, observe and appreciate. And this is more than likely male and female, and then last season's offspring. There's a third one there. I've only seen 2 now. And coming into winter, they will find a little suitable nest site on the ground, and that's where they would breed. Being winter breeders, when the temperature is a bit more suitable to be on the ground and obviously looking after eggs. They are lovely birds. To the right here, PK, on this little shrub. See this little green shrub? You see the 2 birds there? Up a bit. Oh, you got it. Yes, folks, look at that. Is he not happy about something, or has he got a nest there?
This is a testicular. Do you hear the antelope? Just sorry, folks. Everything's just now happening at once. This is a little testicular that we had in frame over here. Sorry, I got distracted. There's antelope. I can hear their horns clashing with one another. It sounds really, really... Let me just go forward, PK. Watch just quickly. Just watch on the right here by this bush line over here. Just watch. If you see any movement, just let me know. But these two animals sound like they are really going at it. Huh? Say again?
It's a herd of antelopes.
Okay. BK says he sees a herd of antelope. There they are. 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 It's two oryx. Oh. Can you not see them there? Please go forward for us again. Okay, they're off to our 3 o'clock here, BK. So when oryx fight, they can be vicious. And it's not uncommon for oryx actually to kill each other. That's how vigorously they fight one another, especially the bulls. Let's go back here, sorry. You can see the tails there. Yep. Wow. Bit of lateral display there. So walk. Wow. Let's see if I can go forwardly for us. Yeah, they are not messing around, those two animals. Got a gap there? They are not messing about. So it's a bit tricky on where they are at this point in time. Just with the vegetation, they are quite far, and if I had to try and get closer, which we are not allowed, we would be disturbing them. As and when now, they have no idea about our presence. They are so... Okay, let me go forward for us quickly, because we might have a nice, decent gap over here. Looks like two bulls fighting. And obviously those horns are very, very important weapons for males. Come on, come on. Got to have a gap. No. So we'll just reverse slightly. So, sorry. Wow. BK just gonna get us on there quickly. He's just bubbling for us to make sure we are level and all looks good. Okay. Okay, let's try and reverse one more time, BK, and see if we can get a gap there. But, yeah, males can inflict quite a bit of damage with those horns. And it's not uncommon from these interactions for them to lose a part or sometimes the entire horn. I've seen oryx that obviously have, over the years, had a bit of temper and had run-ins with other individuals where they've broken both horns off. Do look very funny. Not funny for him, but yeah, it looks very strange, an oryx with no horns. So I'm going to try and go far back this time. Maybe they've come out on the western side of this thicket line. hopefully we can get a clear view of this interaction, because this is something to behold, or to witness, sorry. Oh, there's one there. Okay, just right at this tree. Okay, we've got one here, folks, I think. Leanne, yes, they do have a social structure. That's a great question. So, males would wander for females, and you can see here, I think he's actually pushed off that opponent now. His tail is still moving from left to right quite vigorously. Yellow-billed hornbill calling in the distance. So he might have scared off his opponent. It's very important that you know when to back down. And in the end, you would find female groups, anyway, 20, 30 in a group, and they wander far and wide, and there'll even be a strict hierarchy with the females in that group. And the hierarchy, the ranking, will be determined by age and as well as size. Also, the sheer aggression that one would exert on other members of the group as well. So those horns would also be used by the females just to ward off lower ranking females away from them. So males are territorial, so they would demarcate an area, and within those areas you would want to ward off all other males. This is definitely a bull, looking at his horn length and as well as thickness. Okay, so he's definitely moved off. Some elands there, where you pointed out for us, Beaker, on the hillside there. On the dune, on the hillside, listen to me. To the left. Left. There we go. I think you've just gone. There we go. Well done, BK. Well, okay. So from that intense interaction of antelope, let's send you over to some more antelope on the other side of the country.
Well, we had an intense encounter with a waterbuck not so long ago, but he's just vanished into the thickets. Well, that's what he wants to do. Oh, I can still see his head there. Can you see him there? How's that? He's busy eating some very juicy grasses. Now, we're just working this area because the tracks of that leopard came in from the west, or the east, and came back into this area from the west, and it's in towards this drainage. We've had a few birds calling, just trying to listen for any other sort of signs and see if we can maybe figure out who's about, what's making animals upset. But so far, we haven't managed to relocate anything apart from this youngish male waterbuck. He's giving Johan the evil eye. Didn't see a single waterbuck on Pridens, Johan, did we? No. Plenty of them on Juma, plenty around on Cheetah. They're a very water-dependent animal. You won't find them further than 1 kilometre or 2 from water, and we're about 800 metres or so from Cheetah itself. Fortunately, that's the best view we have for you, everybody. Now, a big waterbuck is not too concerned with a leopard. You'll often have them just staring at a leopard. They won't alarm call or anything. I have seen a male leopard hoisting female waterbucks up trees before, but a male is just a little bit too heavy, and he can put those horns to very good use. If you recall last year, had the wild dogs on Chitwa that were trying to hunt some young waterbuck, and the big male waterbuck just stepped in the front and said, "Come on, get past me." And the wild dogs were like, "There's no way. We're not even going to try and get past you, because you are just going to sort us right out." It's all about weight in the animal kingdom. Animals know when to pick their fights. Even a large pack of wild dogs normally avoid an animal with horns like that. It's possible that some of them have evolved or adapted to hunt larger prey with horns. It's definitely a very risky business when you weigh as little as a wild dog does, to put yourself in the firing line against a very, very big animal that has the potential to wield those horns very efficiently. See again, Franklins are shouting on the right-hand side. I think there is a leopard moving parallel with us right now. Sometimes that's all you hear is the birds vocalizing as the animal moves. Jerome, most certainly lion. Across the continent where you find waterbuck, lion is a supreme predator against waterbuck. But then the youngsters also are highly vulnerable to leopard, sub-adults as well, and even the females. I suppose cheetah would also take them. I don't think cheetah would attempt to take an adult male. And hyena, obviously, have always got the potential. We had Tundi in my first 4 or 5 months here with their waterbuck calf up a tree.
Bruce, you're still driving.
Sorry about the game drive. It's off now. And then no doubt wild dog, and also we've had wild doggy killing a young waterbuck at Crested Dam. Those of you who witnessed that scene with myself and Seb, I think it was last year. That was quite something to behold, and then the hyenas were coming in trying to steal. So lion is pretty much everyone's predator, and then you get your medium-sized predators that sort of have a bit more speciality. Obviously a male leopard's got a higher sort of weight potential prey than the females. That stands as well for male impala versus female impala. You'll generally not find too many female impala killing adult males. Just a little bit more physical, a little bit more weight to bear. There's always threats around there. You notice he has a mouthful, looks around, has a mouthful, looks around. He's a rumination animal, a ruminant, so can feed quite quickly. It's just slowly masticating that food, putting in the belly. He's not really doing any chewing right now, just filling the belly, filling the pouch to be digested and broken up a bit later. They thrive on very juicy green grasses. They are bulk feeders, but they're looking for the sedges and the very moisture-rich vegetation versus the dry, sour stuff. Well, an animal that's far more adapted to dry climates, over in Tswalu, we've still got the oryx.
Sorry, so just to clarify on that wonderful question that was asked earlier, do they form herds? Yes, so they do form herds, and they are unstable herds of that. So you'll find that females within a herd are unstable, especially through the drier months when food is less available. And then males can sometimes join up with these unstable female herds and associate them himself with this grouping, and they are territorial, so demarcating an area using urine and dung And a very, very unique signature by that individual would be a boundary line where he would actively defend this area. But it's not a permanently marked area, so they kind of move around, and wherever they move, that is where they are territorial over. So if you look in the oryx, where they form unstable herds, males are territorial, and then if we look all the way at the dune over here on the left, where BK is going to shoot us all the way to the other side, we have those eland where they are gregarious, and males are not territorial. So gregarious herd forming, this will be a large herd of males and females. But then within this grouping, the males will have a hierarchy where the most dominant individual would be the largest, and then so the ranking system would go down there. They are nomadic by nature. That means they just wander far and wide. I mean, I've read of accounts of eland having a home range of over 1,000 kilometers, a female herd. And then on Tswalu, we can have herds numbering nearly 200 plus. I would say over 200 through a certain period of the year. And they are remarkable animals. So both eland and oryx are very well adapted to dry conditions. If you take a look at the oryx, and they've even got a slow metabolic rate, obviously to just withstand these very, very harsh areas that they live in. But both superbly adapted to Tswalu and then drier regions, going into southern Africa. And if you go into Namibia, I mean, you can get out into areas there like Etosha, that these animals are surviving on bare minimum. And yet they still have enough to thrive and then also reproduce into the very large numbers that you would find in Etosha. It's very, very straight horns. Oh. I love their facial markings. Makes me think of a warrior going to battle. Jenna, the most common antelope found on Tswalu has to be the oryx. The most abundant species of antelope would definitely be the oryx. And then thereafter, I would have to say eland, and then springbok, then wildebeest, and then kind of tapers out from there. But this superbly adapted arid species is perfectly at home in this area. And now with the abundant food source that they have, it is basically easy pickings for them. So this bull could just wander. So these areas, as I said, they are territorial, but it's not like a lion. It's not a specific boundary or a specific area. So it could even be points. It could even be a mountain or a kopi. That is an area that would be part of his territory or indicating a territorial boundary, let's say at that. And these males are dominant over cows. Unlike with that female grouping, you'll have a hierarchy or descending order of hierarchy found within the group itself. He's busy munching away on a bit of grass. So grass, they can obviously feed on different species of grass. They've been recorded eating creepers, melons as well. Obviously a melon out here would be a very viable source of food through the dried periods. Obviously the water content that it has within it. Seed pods, especially through the dry months again that we're coming into with your camel thorn. Seed pods, obviously the seeds containing high nutritional content, and that would be a very, very important food source. That long tail chasing away all the biting flies, that's where they want to be. They want to be tucked up into a spot that's warm, comfortable, and where obviously you are hidden. And that tail is a very important tool to deter. Not that it works 100%, but it is a deterring factor to these biting flies, which are external ectoparasites. So latching on with their well-adapted feet that have little claws at the end, and that's where they would feed off a bit of moisture, specifically blood. Oh, just gave a little cough. those facial markings there, you can see that line going through the eye and extending down towards the muzzle. It actually accentuates the length of the horn. So if you look at that line, it's almost perfectly in line with the actual horn itself. And I think it's there to fool predators, to make predators think that they are much longer. Although that is a very, very big deterrent. Those horns are formidable weapons. So he's getting his feed in now, so filling up that first chamber. And then later would find a little spot just to rest and then properly digest that material.
I'm absolutely delighted to have won the February prize draw for 3 nights for 6 people at the Juma Private Game Reserve. I absolutely love everything Wild Earth has to offer. I find the guides extremely knowledgeable and will go above and beyond to ensure a great safari experience. I will be taking my husband and family from the UK to experience this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. One of the main reasons I joined the Wild Earth Explorer program was for the fireside chats and also to win an incredible prize, which I am so fortunate to win and incredibly happy. I would like to thank Wild Earth for this amazing prize and cannot wait to meet the team.
Wild Earth explorer Jenny recently joined Tristan as he broadcast live from Juma.
Awesome to kind of have a guest on board. I'm looking forward to this. This is Jenny.
Hi everyone.
And Jenny is the first of our Ticket to Dream holders.
If you want to go on safari with a Wild Earth guide whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
Literally being with Tristan on the vehicle today has been incredible. It has truly been a dream come true.
Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
I would highly recommend being a part of the Explorer program and being able to be a part of an interactive live drive.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at Wild Earth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
So, being an animal that is a ruminant, these are all hooved ungulates across the continent of Africa, the largest being a giraffe, where this very specialized digestive system allows you to extract maximum nutrients out of vegetative matter. Also, if you look at vegetative matter, it's very hard to break down and process, so you need a special designed stomach in order to do so. And that animal over there is busy ruminating at the distance it is. You can just see the mouth moving from right to left. So this oryx Oh, Odette, does their diet have any effect on their coat color? I'm sure in a way, Odette, it would have. You are taking up certain chemicals and proteins and a whole host of elements, and I'm almost sure it would definitely have an effect on their coat. But what this animal is busy doing now is filling up the first and second chamber. And if you look at while this animal is busy grazing, it's not chewing the vegetative matter completely to a fine structure. And what it's busy doing now is just filling up that first chamber, and then later when it finds a resting spot, it'll sit down, it'll actually digest that material on its own accord. So you can see now the animal's not chewing completely finished. It's just cropping, chewing a little bit, and then swallowing. And obviously the chewed vegetation with saliva is swallowed. It goes down the esophagus, and it ends up in the first or second chamber. The other material, the smaller material, will then be passed into the second chamber. It will remain, but the other material that floats on top of fluid, and that's why it's very important when a ruminant sits down, it has to sit down and get up in a certain manner because of fluids within these chambers. So if you're ever unsure of an animal, if it is a ruminant, just watch the way in which it sits down. It'll have to buckle its front legs first, and then its hindquarters will come down. And when it sits up, the bump comes up first, and then erects the front legs. And those fluids are very important for the digestive process of this animal. So the stuff that does float on top of the fluid then is regurgitated as a ball, and then the teeth come into very important play here, because the way that the teeth work together or against each other finely chews and breaks down that material. That's then swallowed, goes into the third chamber, further digestion. You would also have microbes that break down the cellulose, and then into the true stomach. That's where a lot of the absorption will take place, or the extraction and the absorption of the goodness of what this animal's eaten. But you're extracting the maximum amount out of the vegetative matter, unlike where our colleagues in the East have explained to you folks of how poor a digestive system of an elephant is. It's got to consume a lot continuously to extract a little bit of nutrients, whereas in these animals are very efficient. The average amount, but you're getting a large amount of quality and quantity out of the vegetative matter. Sure, sometimes I run myself into like corners when I'm trying to explain, and my brain's running faster than I can actually talk. So this bull will remain somewhere fairly close here. He will get his full, and then also now they have an advantage, because this is when this antelope is at its most vulnerable. The head is down, it's focusing on where it needs to take its next bite from, and this is where a predator could take full advantage. But now when you've got your full, you can sit at a spot, you can look for predators, vigilance is at a high degree, and then you can slowly digest this material at your own pace. It's almost like a horse-like tail. They do somewhat resemble or have horse-like features, this animal, the roan, and as well as the sable. Well, can't thank you enough from my side and from BK and all our colleagues. It's been wonderful having you on board this morning to explore and understand all these wonderful things that we have on our doorstep, and to truly appreciate on a day-to-day basis. Please make sure you join us this afternoon for our sunset safari. We'll continue this amazing journey, which will be kicking off at 3:30. Please do jump on board, and where Mother Nature should show us more wonderful stuff.